Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Michael, and as always, we're going to be getting into some more stories. If you enjoy, make sure to leave a like, and if you're new, I'd appreciate if you subscribed. Without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Worried Spouse in the marriage subreddit. The post is titled, "I'm worried about my husband and I don't know what's happening." We are going through a really tough time right now, and he's been really depressed. Well, he was until 3 days ago when all of a sudden he's all calm and happy like a switch flipped, and he's absurdly calm, as if he wasn't sad before. It set off alarm bells for me, but I chalked it up to him just trying to get over his emotions. We live 15 minutes from a big university where both of our children, 21 and 19, attend. They came home randomly yesterday and I was caught off guard. They said their father had asked them to come over because he wanted to give them something. He proceeded to give them 2 boxes full of their childhood memories, teddy bears, photo albums, old toys, etc. It was so odd because they are in college and one lives in a dorm while the other lives in a college apartment with friends. It would make more sense for that stuff to stay here at the house, but he seemed so insistent on giving them these relics from the past and seemed overly happy to do so. Today, he stayed home from work. I work part-time and didn't have work today. He's been cleaning all day. He's always helped clean up, but today he's doing a deep clean, which is something he usually dreads. I'm worried. I don't know what this mood switch is, and I don't even know what to search on Google. It seems like normal stuff, but I know him, and this is definitely not normal, especially the suddenness. Does anyone know what could be happening? Has this happened to anybody else? Update. I want to thank everyone who commented. I had only 45 comments when I decided to talk to my husband and hadn't been on Reddit since, so coming back and seeing 300 plus comments is overwhelming. After reading those comments and seeing mentioned so often, I got a knot in my stomach and researched the behaviors of someone who may be preparing, and sure enough, it matched his. I got so mad at myself for being so ignorant about the behaviors of mental health crises. I went to talk to him and told him I love him so much and that if he was planning to do something to himself, he didn't have to and that I would help him with anything. I said much more in a more loving way. He then broke down crying. Guys, I've only seen this man cry once and that was at his father's funeral, and even that was just a few tears. This was more of a full-on breakdown. I held him and we both cried. He told me that he was broken and didn't feel like he could go on and that we'd be better off without him. I vehemently told him that he was absolutely wrong and that we'd be destroyed without him. We talked for hours and I asked for his permission to call his sister, who is the only person outside of our immediate family whom he fully trusts. She came over and we all talked for a while. His sister and I convinced him to let us take him to the ER. After the medical and mental evaluation, they concluded he was high risk and they kept him. That opened my eyes to how bad it was. That's pretty much it. They still have him and I'm at home. His sister offered to stay with me, but I told her to go home. She has her own family and I don't want to keep her from them. I don't know what to tell our kids or even if I should tell them. I'm lost and worried and just want to help my husband. This story is one of the heavier ones, but I'm just glad that OP actually sought out other opinions and didn't just brush her husband's behavior. It's definitely a pride issue, and it was absolutely heartbreaking to hear the husband say that he felt his family would be better off without him. I don't recall what exactly caused this shift in his mindset, but my mind first wants to think it was related to money. There is an infinite amount of money in the world and opportunities to make it every single day, but your kids only get one of you. But that's just an assumption, and regardless of whatever this couple is facing, I hope they were able to work through it together. This next story was made in the legal advice subreddit by a user named TripSmart71. The post is titled, "Bought a new house and neighbor blocks out driveway." Okay, so this is pretty straightforward, but I'm not really sure where to go or what to do. We just bought a new house, how exciting. Our realtor told us to expect some surprises. Here is our first major one. Our neighbor likes to park and block our driveway. He seems to be an avid car collector and has quite a few. We didn't really notice it because I guess he parks his daily driver in front of our driveway. So when we were touring the house and whatnot, he was away at work. We noticed the issue when we needed to leave our driveway for work and his car was blocking us in. We've knocked on his door and had a few discussions with him about how that's not acceptable. And he produced a handwritten contract he had with the previous owner stating that it was okay for him to block her driveway. He let me read the contract, and it does state that he can block our driveway from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. every day of the week. The previous owner was an elderly woman who did not drive, so I can imagine it was not an inconvenience to her. He's threatened us with legal action and told us that because he has a contract, he can legally park there. I don't think that's true. Also, I'm aware that we have to live next to this man for the next several years, and I want to approach this situation delicately without necessarily getting the courts involved, but I would like to know what my rights are. I think because the contract was with the former owner, it's null and void. Any ideas on how to make peace with our new neighbor and still have the ability to pull in and out of our driveway? I am kind of at my wit's end, so any advice is greatly appreciated. Update. I see a lot of people mentioning why we didn't do something sooner. When I say we just moved in, I mean we just moved in this past Monday. We haven't even been at the new house for a week. I wouldn't say I'm a pushover, it's just that with buying a new house and planning a move, this was not on my bingo card. But it turns out he followed through on his promise and talked to a lawyer who told him it was illegal to block a driveway regardless of any contract, and that the contract in question is null and void since the previous owner moved away. Regardless, blocking someone else's driveway is still illegal. He came over and apologized. He also brought some store-bought cookies, an apology letter, and the contract with the former owner for us to keep or destroy. I think this is a nice olive branch for the situation. He wants to start over and welcome us into the neighborhood. I'm hoping we can turn the corner and start anew with our new neighbor. He seemed pretty embarrassed and genuinely sorry. He's an older guy, so maybe he just didn't know the laws or isn't good with change. He definitely has egg on his face. Hopefully we can just enjoy being neighbors in the meantime, and maybe one day this will just be a funny story. Anyway, definitely an interesting way to be welcomed into the neighborhood. So this story actually hits a little close to home for me because I've had a similar situation years ago. A neighbor of mine had like 4 to 5 cars at his home, and the driveway was only large enough for maybe 2 to 3 cars max. So there would always be at least 1 or more cars parked on the sidewalk, but almost always covering part of our driveway and obscuring vision when exiting. Long story short, eventually the situation was sorted and we were able to clear out the area. With this story, I first got a little hot-headed, but it was nice to see that the neighbors were actually pretty cool and even apologized and gave them cookies.